Om Shanti. So welcome all of you to the Values Workshop 91 on flexibility. And we'll be having both our dear senior brothers from Spain, Brother Enrique and Brother Bill, will be joining. One of them is already joined, but we'll be listening to them in the second hour. So they just wanted to attend the full workshop. So they're also there in the background. So welcome all of you. And as always, before we begin, let's spend a few moments in silence, reflecting on this value of flexibility and asking oneself, am I really flexible in my approach towards my nature and in interaction with other people? Having asked oneself this question, let me also ask myself, what can I do in addition to enhance or increase my existing flexibility so that I am able to stay in harmony with everyone around and also be at peace with myself. So with these few thoughts, which I have given you all to ponder, let's begin our workshop. So thank you all for joining. We always have less participants as we start, but today we have already crossed 55. So we'll be having more soon, but we'll start. We won't be so flexible with the time because we want to respect the time of people who have joined on time. So as always, we have a team of facilitators. And we have with us Sister Shruti. Welcome, Sister Shruti. She's joining from the west coast of US. And we have a big team of translators and recorders. So a big thanks to all of you for being there as always on time. So let me just start sharing with you. So these are our workshops, which we have been doing since almost 4 years now, 3.5 years. And today we are on flexibility. So as always, we begin with an icebreaker video. It is just a brief 2 to 3 minute video. See what insights you get on that. Today's video, there's a lot of someone speaking about flexibility. So if you want to share your insight video, so if people want to start quickly sharing in the chat box, let me see what people have to share. Still no one. A beautiful example of a spaghetti after being cooked, becoming flexible. So I was just wondering, when we are also being cooked, in the sense, too many situations in life making us roast our heads. So is that the reason we also become flexible? Yeah, so Reina, very good. Thank you for at least breaking the ice. But it gets eaten. Okay. Yes, we know the spaghetti gets eaten. So do you want to elaborate a bit more on that? We have quite a few Spanish audience today. I know because it's brothers joining from Spain. So if you all can feel free to write in Spanish and we'll be translating them. We have our Spanish translator, sister will be doing that. Yeah, so Reina sister is saying that we need to have okay. I think the settings can only be done with the host. Nikhil bhai, just check just a moment. I'm sorry for that.
I think he just fixed it, Manoj bhai.
You fixed it now? Okay. So sorry for that. So Serena is saying we need to have a balance. Just for this and further down. Again, Rena Ben is saying not too flexible. I don't know in what context are you saying that. Okay. So if you're not flexible, which means you don't have a balance, yeah, maybe. And I remember this balance was spoken a lot about by Brother Charlie in the last talk which we had last Sunday. I hope you all can now share in the chat box, all of you. If anyone is motivated to speak, but should be very brief. I hope you all saw the icebreaker video properly. Yes, so the spaghetti needs to be cooked in water. Heat alone will make, yeah, perfect. So heat alone will make it harder. So the water of knowledge and the fire of yoga will make the job perfect. Wow, fantastic. So Sister Micheline has said that, or Sister Mickey, as it's called in French. Yes, so it's a beautiful analogy and corollary which she's given, that if you want to cook something like this spaghetti, it will become hard if you just have fire. You need the water. So same way, the water of knowledge and the fire of yoga. Yoga means the meditation. The power which I get, the strength which I get while meditating, that will make the job perfect. So beautiful. So that had come to me as a direct message. So it was not there in the sharing to everyone. Yeah, so if you all want to be silent, no worries. We still have a minute. And then we can move on to, I think let's go on to the next exercise because people are really silent. No worries. So we'll move on to the first activity and exercise. Over to you, Sister Shruti. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. So let's move into our workshop. And as we get into our workshop, so we've heard our speakers last week, we saw the video. So as we get into some of this, what we would do in the next minute or so is focus on a reflection. So reflect on a time when you were flexible with your colleagues, friends, or family. And then think about all the advantages that came from that situation and of being flexible. So what did you gain by being flexible? What did you gain by being that spaghetti? So 2 portions, reflection on the time, but focus on the advantages that you saw by being flexible. So I'll play music for about a minute for you to reflect and jot down the points, and then we can come back and discuss. Okay, if you're ready. What are some of the thoughts? Would anybody like to get us going? I'm seeing a few chat messages, but we'll wait to read the chat messages. We're hoping This is one forum where you could unmute and just speak.
So we are on the workshop of flexibility, but today we are not so flexible, just looking at your chat box. We would want you all to share.
I would like to start sharing then.
Go ahead. Yes, please
Thank
go ahead.
Yeah, I really love this topic on flexibility. Just I think yesterday we spoke about flexibility with the Gyan, with everything we learn, and talking about being detached but loving at the same time, being solitude in silence but sharing words at the same time. And most important experience or the sharing I had yesterday was being in knowledge but experiencing it at the same time. So Gyan and Yogi and Yukti. That's all I
Very
can
nice.
put for now. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you for getting us started. Lots of lovely points over there. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead, Raina.
Okay. So I think flexibility is a more of a mindset, okay, and not merely action oriented. So action part comes in the end. Okay. If your mindset is flexible, that itself, and you're confident and you have compassion in your heart, that itself creates a good relation with everyone around you, that they know that, okay, at least this person is willing to try and bend for our sake. So that creates a goodwill with everybody, and you don't actually have to prove it, okay, but there are situations where you have to prove it, but not all the time. If you just are willing to bend and be flexible, that itself creates a confidence in others to be with you and work with you.
That's very interesting because it goes beyond just the action, but it's the willingness and people sense it. Very nice. Thank you. Anybody else?
I think Sister Maria wants to
Yeah, I
speak.
think she's.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sister Maria.
Okay, so here is Michel.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Michelle.
Okay, so in a simple way, I will say it's just the good sense of recognize the reality. We have the corona, so we have been adapting, flexible. We change totally our way of being and doing. So we create a new way of living, you know. So and which still preserve our principle. When, according to some people we meet, obviously each one wants to say their own opinion. So yes, that's the reality. So we listen and then we express our own opinions. So and it's always good to let them people speak first, because then once they are finished, then they can listen. Okay, Om Shanti.
Very nice. I think what I liked, what got me going in the entire comment was that it leads to new ways of living. And definitely listening is a very big part of being flexible. So again, wonderful points coming out there. Thank you. Anybody else? Sister Maria, we saw you unmute a few times. Would you like to speak? Maybe it was just an accident. Okay, let me start reading out a few messages that we have received. We got one from Sanam saying, balance indeed is the key word. Introvert, but also extrovert at the same time, serious and loving at the same time. So left and right brain at the same time. So flexibility, so being able to do everything, what seems like opposites, but still being able to balance that out. Lara says, rigidity paralyzes evolution and brings a lot of suffering when it comes to not accepting what cannot be changed. But like noodles, we have to extend and make the possibilities of understanding more flexible. That's really nice. I think that's another dimension to the conversation, like what Sister Lara's saying about evolution. True, if we weren't flexible, at least by the theory of evolution, that would have led to extinction. At least that's what the theory of evolution says. Very nice. Sister Anjali says being peaceful. Anshul says the job at hand seems to be easy once you're flexible.
A mí me parece que
Whether it's office, colleagues, friends, and family. Miwa says, I think that's confidence. Brother Michelle says, you express new ways of being. Oh, it's trust. What Miwa was saying was about trust, not confidence. Harmony by Brother Juan. Lara says, if I let go of the situation, the benefit is lightness. And there are a couple more chat messages, but again, I'd like to pause in case anybody would like to unmute and share instead. Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
please go ahead,
Which
Fernando.
one,
Yeah.
Fernando or me? Okay, thank you. If we are flexible, we will be harmonized with the others, and we tolerate our wrong actions, and we can find the common solution, the problems, so that it will help it make the life easier than the usual. Okay, thank you.
That's beautiful. Harmony seems to be something that's, seems to be reflected in many of our comments. So certainly that's a strong word, and that certainly helps in every situation. Thank you. Fernando, would you like to go next? Maybe not. Kuldena, I'll also read out your message in the chat. When we are flexible, we encounter fewer difficulties and achieve the results we desire more easily. Divya says animals can squeeze through tight spaces when they are flexible. Similarly, humans can get through tight situations when they are flexible and rigid. It's a beautiful analogy again. Liana says, Shanti, this is the first time I'm okay. Yes, definitely we'll add your email and WhatsApp into our group. Brother Ua says, harmony and calm allows us to dance kindly in this adventure called life. That's beautiful. Swati says, flexibility is like inner music. Very nice. And Brother Michelin says the spaghetti doesn't know that it is being cooked. Similarly, when we are flexible, everything becomes easy and we will remain happy with the self and with our relationships. Very nice. And Brother Michelle says life is movement. Movement is close to flexibility. Very nice. Any other thoughts?
And just to, I don't know whether you read Divya's phone, animals can squeeze through.
I
did you read?
did. I
Okay,
did.
thanks.
That
Okay.
was beautiful. Yes. Anybody else? We still have a couple of minutes. We can still unmute. We learn from each other, so feel free to share. Yeah, we do seem to be quieter this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. If not, I think I'll hand it back to Manoj Bhai. We can go into a little bit longer meditation, bring everybody out of
Sure,
our shells.
And I think still people are typing. I'll just take this. Roddy says flexibility is the freedom of movement.
Yes.
And Andrea, again, it's another language, so please translate that. Okay, so thank you. And maybe Deepak Bhai, do you just want to show us quickly the sharings? Yeah. And Om Shanti is saying flexibility and lightness go hand in hand. Okay, yes, true. So these are all there. So we actually, in these values workshops, we want to make sure that you all stick to the questions. So fantastic. You all have jotted down the advantages. I'll just quickly read it. Being peaceful, harmony, being balanced, having a good tolerance. One of the sisters mentioned. Harmony was coming quite a bit again and again. That was fantastic. Balance of the right and the left, fantastically shared. You can, being flexible is like inner music. So you can be at harmony. It is also freedom of movement. So that relates to the body, but also at a mind level. We become easy and remain happy with the self and with our relationships. And we are less rigid. So we can really maneuver through tight situations like animals do through tight spaces. A fantastic corollary. And yes, it brings goodwill to the mindset. And also opposite of flexibility, rigidity paralyzes evolution. So a lot of suffering comes in. So here you become opposite. You become flexible and you can really extend yourself wholeheartedly. Right. So I'll just go into the meditation. Okay, there are a few more. I'll just quickly take
Yeah.
it. God wants us to be flexible. Okay, there's a question. So maybe we'll ask Brother Bill and Enrique this in the end. You all can please answer that why does God want us to be flexible? And then people are saying flexible ones never break. Yeah, so you're getting the answers as well. That's great. And yeah, Brother Michelle is saying, Michael or Michelle, sorry, I may be spelling it wrong. Nothing works in a straight line. Yes, true. So everything has to be maneuverable. Yeah. So let us just take some time now to meditate. So before we go on to the action planning, and I'll take you through that journey of little bit of reflection on what we have to do in the action planning. Before that, we always make our mind a little bit stable. So it's going there again. So before we begin, let's take a deep breath in and out and relax the body. And as we do so, let's focus our attention on this beautiful conscient energy that we are, all of us, beautiful energies. And looking at this soul energy that I am, I realize my inner true nature. Which is full of peace and calmness. And I realize that by virtue of my innate potential, I am an easygoing and flexible entity. By nature, the soul energy naturally is flexible and malleable. Rigidity and resistance are disturbing energies which don't make me innately feel good about myself. And only when I situate myself in this true easygoing and flexible nature, I become more and more tolerant and I'm able to face situations with much more power and strength. And then harmony becomes so natural in my relationships with everyone. This unique ability of the soul energy to bend in different situations, in difficult situations, is indeed a boon given by the Almighty to help me maneuver through challenges in life. So let me, from today's workshop, as we move on into the next activity of action planning, having stabilized myself in this soul conscious state and having pondered on the advantages of flexibility, let me now try to dive deep into what else could I do to enhance my original nature of flexibility. And with this, I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll pass it on again to Sister Shruti for the action planning activity. Over to you. Thank you.
So as I was mentioning, now that we have spent some time on the meditation, true to our workshop style, let's focus on what are some of my areas of personality, whether it's been my personal or my professional relationships. Where is it that I can gain from enhancing flexibility? Where is it that I am being rigid or not as flexible as I would like to be? So again, a minute of reflection. What are some of the areas that can gain from more flexibility in me? And how can I enhance that flexibility? Reminders for myself, ways by which I can be flexible, make this into slightly more practical, slightly more action-driven. So a minute of reflection, and we'll come back to discuss. Okay. If we are ready, anybody like to? Yes, Pushpa, please go ahead.
Krishna.
Pushpa, would you like to share? Maybe not. Would anybody else like to share? Anything from your reflection? How could you increase flexibility in your lives?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So as I told you about the mindset,
Mhm.
so in your mind, okay, mentally, you have to be very quick because these are times when drastic changes are happening, both at the personal level and social level and at the universal level and the climate as well. If you see, look at the climate, the summer is too hot and the rainy seasons, it is pouring. It's like raining cats and dogs somewhere, and it is too much heat somewhere. So these
Very
changes are happening suddenly, and in our mind we have to be very quick, okay, and adaptable. That makes me very responsive to change and resilient as well. And on a personal level, I become versatile as well. But on a practical level, it is advisable to go slow because I have experienced that during the changes in the climate, okay, a lot of things happens. I mean, you tend to get sick. So even if you have accepted it mentally, the practical things that you need to do to counter those changes has to be taken slowly because drastic steps, it might backfire. So that way I can increase my flexibility and then be responsive to it and not do any harm in making those changes practical.
I think that's a beautiful comment, Sister Rana, and with so much depth to it, that you have to be fast to be able to be responsive and resilient in every sphere of life, but at the same time go slow so that you don't go. And that has to do, and again, at so many different levels, just the way that you're approaching life and being slow in your head rather than being all agitated. That's beautiful. Thank you. Yes, Sanam, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to hear about this Rena. And I do agree. And there are difficult situations, for example, uncertainty or difficult situations. And the experience is that in uncertainty is to remember that this is all a drama, is the most helpful experience to have gone through. And in difficult situations, is to be the solution finder, which we learn with Karan Nivaran, right? So not to find a reason why and why and why, and not to keep asking why this happens and how this happens, but to find a solution. And as Rena says, within 1 second, and to immediately step back, observe the situation, observe the self, and then find a solution is the best experience with the Gyan. And the cooperation with the mind and cooperation in the situation is always helpful with the people or with the situation that we are in. And for that also the stepping back and observing, and especially when it can backfire. There is another saying, it's like this, vinashkale viprit buddhi. So the mind can turn upside down. So even if you want to do something right, the intellect turns upside down, and it's actually the result is it turns the other way around. So in that 1 second, it needs to be benevolent and with good knowledge. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, 3 lovely points there, whether it's taking again a minute to find that solution and stepping back, observing, again, staying flexible to if things go wrong, then again switching it back, and just lovely. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Shanti.
Yeah, I'm Shanti,
Yeah.
brother.
In life, let us say if I want to put bring some percentage, I would say maybe I do 60% of what I really want, and that is already a lot. and maybe a drama life situation comes, and that is maybe 40% of the situation coming from the drama. So in front of that, I will say I need, I put four quality: inner power, contentment, creativity, and no desires. So that whatever comes, I adjust and I find a way which still maintain myself in the rails of drama. You can say like that.
Those were lovely. Would you repeat those four? Because I know Deepak Bhai is recording. So we got inner power, contentment,
Creativity
creativity,
and no desire.
no desire. That's beautiful. And I also like this analogy of 60-40. That, most of the times we do get what we want, but it's that 40% that blows us off. And that's beautiful. So to remember, I have that perspective, I guess. That's beautiful. Anybody else? Yeah, I'm gonna. Yes, please go ahead, Margaret. Okay, I'll read out a couple of messages that we have received. I'm sorry, we don't have your name. It just says Zoom user, says flexibility to adapt to people and flexible in yoga. So that's some of the ways that I guess they are thinking about increasing flexibility. Lara says, I think it's a mental work. That is change of vision or perspective, I think, when all things change, and I definitely have to prepare myself for what comes every second. So when things change, I have to be prepared for what comes the next second. Very true. Amanda says, or Amada says, when I make a mistake, I don't criticize myself and quickly be flexible and understanding with myself. Again, that's beautiful. Change is hard, and you need to be gentle and understanding with ourselves too. That's a beautiful perspective. Andrea says, maybe some of my disgust comes from the lack of flexibility in my mind. And Rodi says, flexibility to understand others better with open-mindedness and patience. That's beautiful. And Manoj Bhai says, practicing more silence time in solitude and introversion will help develop my flexibility and also feelings of mercy towards people and situation. That will help me be more flexible. Very nice. Would anybody else like to unmute?
Yeah,
I'm
can I
sure.
say?
Yes, please go ahead, Sister Vidhi.
How Baba says, be a child and not a master always. So it's nice if we are child, we'll be more flexible.
Very nice. So with Baba, you mean divine, and if you remember that you're the child of God. Sorry, you were saying something else, Sister Vidhi.
We don't have to think too much. If I'm a child, I can happily accept others' suggestions and stay free.
Very nice. Thank you. We have another comment by Nisha. She says, by being flexible, God is able to make a more beautiful and attractive faith. Very nice.
Om Shanti and Nisha here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Actually, I have faced a lot of ups and downs in my life. Like, I feel there's some power, like, who is there beside me. Like, I mean, it was in an extreme where I had to take a very wrong decision, but I feel someone came to stop me. Like, a power was there. And still, I feel that is with me always. I've got that faith. Like, I tried to become more flexible. I mean, I really missed you before the previous, because I'm a teacher, I was doing my other work. So, but I was really impressed the way how you have spread about the flexibility, and it's really gone in now. And thank you very much. It was too good.
Very nice. I'm glad. And it'll continue with today's speakers. It's a beautiful topic and so much to learn and so much to experience on.
Yes, I'm also learning a lot, and I don't try to miss any of the classes, to be very honest. I'm having my summer camps and all, But still, I said I have to go for my class. This is my important class. And I'm
Very
sorry I
nice.
joined late.
Not at all.
Thank you, Om
Anybody?
Shanti.
Om
Yeah,
Shanti.
Shanti, I'd just like
Yes.
to add, because
Yes,
everybody
please
shared
go
the
ahead.
beautiful ideas, and I don't want to repeat any of that. So I would just add quickly that we think of flexibility or changes when the circumstances are difficult, according to me, or there are problems. So I think if we just detach ourselves, watch it, and then we don't have to really change our commitments, but just change your stance.
Very
And then
nice.
I think the things become easier. I don't have to struggle that I have to change or bear it or tolerate. So just change your stance and your maybe outlook. You don't need to change your commitments.
Very nice. So, like, don't compromise on yourself. Don't change what you're really committed to, but change your stance. And I think somebody else also mentioned something similar, wherein you can still stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
but make some changes. Fantastic. I'm so glad you were also able to share. Deepak Bhai, would you be able to quickly share the slide before we hand it back to Manoj Bhai? All right. So again, lovely sharings, and certainly a lot more than we did in the first exercise. So that's wonderful. So much to learn. Practicing more silence time, solitude and introversion helps me develop my flexibilities and the feeling of mercies towards people and situations. Mentally, I need to be quick to be able to adapt. So it makes me more responsive and flexible and resilient, but at the same time, take small steps and be more and take slower steps so that I can, adapt to this easily. Flexibility to understand others help with more open-mindedness and patience. Some of my disgust comes from lack of flexibility in my mind. Observe the situation, so the detached observer, and be the solution finder. When I make a mistake, I don't criticize myself. I'm always flexible and understanding with myself. It's a mental work, change of vision, perspective. When all things change, I can definitely prepare myself for what comes in the next second. Inner power, contentment, no desires, acceptance, and creativity. Flexibility to adapt to people and flexible in yoga, remembering that I am the child of God and so stay free. By being flexible, God is able to make more beautiful and attractive. So I think having faith in what God is creating out of me. And I think with that, I'll hand it back to Manoj Bhai.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Elaborate sharings indeed. I'm sure Brother Enrique and will have a lot of things to speak about as well. And you'll have really given a lot of food for thought. And also, I can see many new participants today from from the European countries, maybe Spanish or French. So if you all want to share your email addresses and WhatsApp numbers in the chat box, either to everyone if you're comfortable, or to Sister Vidhi. It starts with Vidhi. So if you can share it with her, so we can send you all the materials which we are, because all these are for purpose of seva, what we call service. So we don't mind sharing all these materials, which has the icebreaker video in that as well. And whatever sharings come out, is beautiful words of wisdom which come out, which we'll be sharing with you all in the next week after we finish the workshop. So let's, in the next 15 minutes now, move on to what were the churning points, what Brother Charlie had to say, and Sister Amy was interviewing him. So it will be more of what Brother Charlie was saying. I think Brother Charlie had covered for us, I remember very well, benevolence and also patience. So, I mean, when he took on patience, it was a few years ago when we just started the series, it was fantastic. And I think looking at him, you can see his face is full of a lot of patience and flexibility. So started the, if I could just request people to mute yourself, please, because it's disturbing others as well. So they started with looking at the analogy of the value of flexibility with a tree. And a mighty tree is perfectly designed to adjust to the wind and bend by being flexible. So, but if a mighty tree otherwise has a lot of ego and doesn't want to bend, then it has to break. So that ego thing has to go off. I think it will be covered later. And I won't be reading through each and every line of the slides, but I'll be just taking a few summary points. If you can look at the last line, which mentions is to completely defuse your ego and stubbornness. That's humility. So I think flexibility closely goes hand in hand with humility, which helps us soften our attitude towards situations and people. And as was shared by Sister Rena, also Brother Charlie mentioned that the world is really changing very fast in relation to, you can see AI coming up in a big way, artificial intelligence, so technology, societal relationships, roles, etc. And we really have a lot on our plate to go through. So if we are flexible enough, it keeps us very light and open-minded, and it basically cools us down. She spoke about the external heat, but there's inside mental heat as well. If you are rigid and very resistant, you really get stressed up. So to cool down, the only way is flexibility. He spoke out a few values which are related to flexibility. So one is respect. Spoke about Nelson Mandela, and mercy, which I also mentioned, because at the Brahma Kumari's teachings, we are taught a lot about being Rahim Dil. Rahim is an Urdu word. It basically means mercy. Because towards this fag end of the Iron Age, what we call in Hindi Kal Yug, we have lost this attitude of mercy towards, forget the others, even towards a difficult situation, or even towards self. We can really be sometimes so brutal towards the self as well, being all the time judgmental and hammering oneself that why did I do, why did, so on and so forth. So brother said that let's try to be more objective and offer mercy. So I think if I am merciful enough, flexibility becomes very easy. Again, kind and loving, and practicing soul consciousness, which I'm sure both the brothers will do a very good job. So let's also keep something for them to talk on, rather than discussing more of the basics of Raj Yoga. They'll tell us more about that. And very important, at a soul level, fine, I can develop flexibility, but the moment I connect with the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Power, which is beyond, it really helps me gain more strength and more power. And he said that if you want to develop a spiritual life, let's have these three things, as Brother Michael was saying about those 4 things. These are 3 things which he mentioned, Brother Charlie, that so actually not these 3 things, but if in my spiritual life, am I just taking it as a hobby? Like maybe every Sunday I do some meditation, go for the prayer meeting, or go for some spiritual class? Or am I ready to make it as a discipline in my life, which is a step further from the hobby? Or am I converting that discipline into a lifestyle, which means I'm not a meditator only for half an hour or 1 hour, maybe in the morning or before I go to bed? No. I need to make this a part of my routine. I need to make it my lifestyle. And only then can I really practice any virtue, for that matter, which we are discussing in all our series. We are on the 92nd value so far. So any value can become easy to practice. It will become a part of my natural being if I'm able to be in that being. Again, we feel very depleted soon because we don't connect ourselves to the Supreme. So if I am really connecting myself and overfilling myself with that virtue or value, it will just exude out from me very naturally. And then I really won't feel hurt and angry with anyone. So, because sometimes people who are very punctual and disciplined, say, for example, they want to come on time, but others don't come on time. So let my attitude towards the others not be of anger and feeling that, oh, they are wasting my time, they don't respect time, so on and so forth, having this commentary inside. It would help me to accept, as they are, again, have mercy on self, most important, and then have mercy on them and the situation. And all this again and again, we have to keep ourselves emotionally equipped which can only happen by connecting with him, that's the Supreme Being. And Brother Charlie went on to touch about just remembrance, again, which both the brothers today will be covering in detail. It's about what is the exact method to meditate, how to elevate your consciousness to the higher level, as we normally do charging of the mobile phone. So plugging on with our mind and intellect, the two sockets, plugging on to that Supreme Being, the Supreme Power, who is the powerhouse of everything, all virtues, all powers, will help me on my spiritual journey. I think this was a quote which Brother Charlie mentioned, that life triggers our emotions and feelings, but flexibility is keeping those feelings very light and open. And again, I remember it's at Brahma Kumaris, we are taught this. I never heard this before outside, because I used to belong to another spiritual organization before coming to the Brahma Kumaris. So I heard this word of double light, and then I was like taken aback that what is this double? I can remain light, that's fine, but what is this double light? So one light is knowing that you are the spiritual light, the soul energy, and the other lightness is the feeling of being very easy and being not heavy inside. So it's a feeling of lightness. And there were a few questions which brother had answered. In the next 6 minutes, I'll see how much I can cover. Yes, we spoke a lot about balance. So the question which was like, actually, it is quite self-explanatory, but sometimes people become very flexible in their daily routine. And they are not determined to do the things which they are supposed to do with full discipline and determination. They become very complacent. That's the word I must say. So how does one strike this delicate balance between being flexible, but yet not complacent and still determined in your approach? So brother said that flexibility is needed to deal with people and situations, whilst a determined mind is for the self. I have to work on myself. I have to sort of change my patterns, my thought patterns, my behavioral patterns. So I need to be very determined to work on that. I can't be flexible and complacent. One has to be determined enough not to allow emotions to override them. And flexibility is to be applied again and again, he was saying, towards people and situations. And this is an innate wisdom. I need to be wise enough to know when I need to be flexible, or where I need to be flexible, and where I need to be determined. I'm sorry, there's a spelling mistake here. So determination, which comes from body consciousness, can lead to rigidity and stubbornness. So that's what we don't have to do. But if we have determined with the attitude of soul consciousness, then it becomes your quality. And it doesn't bring in stubbornness. On the contrary, it brings out more flexibility with other people. Next question was, how does one develop strength and endurance of the mind? Because when we speak of flexibility, our attention goes immediately towards the body, the flexibility of the body, and strength and endurance are really two words closely related to that. So in relation to the mind, strength of the mind is, brother said, Charlie, that when I do not resort to negativity, that's a strong mind, a positive mind. A strong mind can see good in others. It can tolerate others. You can see the whole picture, but it is your choice to see the good in that. So it's a strong mind which can do that. And for endurance, he mentioned that love creates endurance, where I can be very flexible with people as they are, because I am naturally having the sanskar of love towards them. And with love, other things come in like mercy, compassion, which help us becoming more enduring in our approach towards people. And he said that the foundation of his spiritual journey is God's love, which gives him the power to endure and face everything in life. That's what he has to mention. Does meditation help in striking a balance between flexibility and saying no at workplace? So he said, yes, of course it helps. But if I need to say no, I can say no, an affirmative, firm no. But what matters is the intent and the feelings. And these are two beautiful words in Hindi. We say the bhav and bhavana. So bhav is what is my intention with which I am saying, and what are the feelings which I am generating when I'm speaking. So bhav and bhavana, that matters a lot. So if my intention is full of love and respect, even if I say no, it will still be taken well, because I'm valuing everyone, so it won't be as a hurtful feeling coming to them. And even if someone is to give me a correction, it won't be taken as a criticism, because it will come from a space which is full of love. The next question was, how do I make I'll take this as the last one. How do I make my meditation more productive and practice soul consciousness more naturally? Because it's very difficult to be soul conscious 24/7, because as regular meditation practitioners, all of us do agree that being soul conscious 24/7 is a very difficult task. But what he said, brother said, that I think we should be a level above soul consciousness, and let's go to supreme soul consciousness. Let's try to connect again and again, as in how much we remember the Supreme Being. The moment we remember, we get connected to that. The remembrance becomes powerful, and that helps us in healing ourselves very deeply. And when we contextualize this situation in relation to the Supreme being connected and powerful in remembrance, then we realize that all the souls are on their life journey, and they are working as per their own karma. And everyone is on their own journey. We can never predict and never be judgmental towards what people are doing. And once I respect everyone's journey as they are journeying through life with a lot of difficulties, then on the contrary, mercy and love will reflect. So then soul conscious will become more natural, and never give up on the self. Because he said it will take you back to your truth. Keep doing it, keep doing it. Because I remember someone was asking us that I'm not able to get up. Yeah, that's the last question about I'm not able to get up at 4 a.m. So don't give up on yourself. Keep striving to get up at 4. But if not, whatever time you wake up, at least spend that time in silence and remembrance. And that will help you on your journey to feel more empowered. So with this, I will just stop sharing the screen now, and I'll request Nikhil Bhai to please spotlight both the brothers. And welcome both of you, brother Enrique Simo and brother Bill Simo. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you for being a part of this and saying yes instantly without, because you all really instantly said yes to the invitation. Just a moment. I'll just introduce both of you. Brothers have been with us before as well, but we always have an audience. So let me just introduce both of you, and then a poem for both of you as well. So I'll start with brother Enrique, that he's a member of the national coordination team of the BKs in Spain, and also the coordinator of the headquarters in the capital city, Madrid. And he has been practicing Raj Yoga since more than 30 years now, and he's collaborated and promoted many programs for peace and the development of values and spirituality in various organizations. He works as an executive coach and as a facilitator in leadership development programs. And also for more than 10 years now, he's been working in the field of education as well, delivering training and coaching to various school management teams. And we have our second brother. Both of them are also Lokik brothers, but very alokik as well, as you can see. Brother Bill Simo has been a member of the BK since 1986, which also is more than 30 years now. And he is a teacher and lecturer of various spiritual topics. And he is also a member of the national coordinating team in Spain. Since 2005, even he has been working as an executive coach, facilitator, and again, trainer in leadership abilities. And he has been conducting many such programs and workshops on personal and leadership development in various companies. To name a few: Nestle, Telefonica, Volvo, so many others as well. So thank you both of you for joining. And before I pass it on to you, you have to bear with me for a few more minutes. The poem on flexibility for both of you. So today, brother Enrique and Bill shall share on how to be more malleable so that in our dealings with people, we can always be flexible. Let's shift the focus back to self and indeed feel responsible so that we don't blame anyone else whenever in trouble. Because life's journey is indeed marvelous and incredible, giving us many experiences in life which are unforgettable. When we face challenges in life which are unbearable and deal with circumstances which are unacceptable, let's try to face them by making our approach more sensible and make spirituality our anchor, which is indeed indispensable. Finally, so that I can make changes in life which are indeed correctable and they help me increase my self-confidence and feel respectable. So with these few words, I welcome both of you. Thank you so much for joining, and the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation and the possibility to share about this so interesting topic. And well, so many ideas. I had some thoughts and you were saying this one and then another thought and you were saying another. So it's a challenge now to talk about flexibility, because so many good things and deep things. I will start with a little bit of my experience in the workspace, and then my brother Bill will continue with our teamwork in the national coordinator team in Spain, because we have developed a lot of flexibility also there. And regarding some of these questions, how to say, for example, no, and at the same time be flexible, I was thinking, according to my experience, that the more you practice spirituality and the more you are clear about true to yourself and about your principles, then you're becoming strong inside. It's like the tree, the example of the tree, I like it very much. The tree has a very strong roots. So the more strong are the roots, the more flexible can be the tree, even can bow down, but the roots are holding the tree. So the more you work on your spirituality, the more you work on your soul consciousness and the connection with God, you become very strong inside. And by being strong inside, you are, I will use some of the terms that they have come up. You can be very determined in your practice, in your principles, so that you don't want to break them, you want to follow them, but then externally, you can be really very flexible and fulfill your responsibilities, but all the time having in mind very clearly what are your principles and what do you need to do in your workspace to continue to follow them, and at the same time to fulfill the responsibilities. For example, food, we are vegetarians and also we cook our own food, and I like very much this practice. So many times in my work, now I work as a freelance, but I have been working in the companies for many years also. So many times I remember in one company, the boss was inviting me to eat in a restaurant. And it was a tradition in the company that when the boss invites you personally, it means that he will take you to a very good restaurant and you can choose whatever you want, and he's expecting you to eat properly. So I was always going there and just asking for a very simple salad and then an apple. And every time I was going with him, I was eating the same thing. So he was really a little bit curious. Why you don't eat more things? Why do you eat these simple things? So I was with him I was very polite with him. I was very respectful with him. I was saying, yes, I go with you to eat. But at the same time, I was very determined, and I was not complacent to him with my way of eating or my way of being. So I think this flexibility in relationship and connected with respect, as Brother Charlie was saying, but at the same time, determination and firmness, not rigidity, but firmness in your principles, it's very attractive. And so he was, instead of being upset and saying, why you don't eat, he was very curious. And he asked me, and then the conversation was about food, but then vegetarian food, then about meditation, then about spiritual life. So finally, well, this is a long story, but to make it short, he became also vegetarian and his wife also became vegetarian. And it was because of the influence of this little incident of being together, eating together, but being firm in your principles, but at the same time, very flexible and respectful to him as he was eating or whatever he was doing. So I think that we have to be very strong inside and have any fear of really expressing our way of living in the workplace with respect to others, and don't judge whatever the others do, but be very firm on what do you want to do. So I remember also, and at the end of the year, they were organizing a very big meal, no, with all the workers, and there was nothing vegetarian. Everything was fish and meat. So I was there in the middle, and they put me plates of food in front of me, and I was smiling. I was talking to everyone, and I was saying to the people who were beside me, "Do you want more? Do you want more?" So the people around me were so happy because they had much more food than others because everything that arrives to me, I was giving. But flexibility for me means to be happy in these situations. It's not that then you feel, you feel bad because what I'm doing here, this is a waste of time. Oh, this food, I don't like this food, and they put this food in front of me. They don't have order anything for me. No, this is the situation. So for me, flexibility is really accept the present situation. So this is what it is. So don't think extra. Don't create any other thought. Just be there and be flexible. Adapt yourself to what it is there. So there is nothing to eat, no problem. Then you have time to talk, to smile, to interact with others, and to enjoy it. And also, and even you can say, oh, you're enjoying your food. It's very good food. You don't eat anything, but you appreciate others. So my experience many times in these situations was that people were so happy with me because they were able to eat more. But at the same time, I felt that they were accepting me very much because my attitude was very flexible towards them. I made the effort not to judge them, not to feel any rejection, just accept them as they are, but very firm with my principles. No? So I think flexibility and determination and firmness are very connected. And then I remember also, I have a daughter. She now is very independent and she has her own family. She has 2 children, so I'm a grandfather. And I've learned so much being with her. When you have children, you need to be so flexible, because if you are rigid, you create a lot of tension in the relationship. So I was not like this before, but when I came to this spiritual knowledge and I've practiced meditation and I was learning how to be more detached, not to have so much expectations. So I was able to really, really, really deeply accept her as she was and accept whatever she wanted to do. And I remember to have a conversation with her when she was 19 and saying to her, I will support you. But you can decide if you want to study or not, if you want to work now or not, if you want to be independent or not. I will support you, but you have to take the decision. So I was practicing a lot of flexibility because I had my own thoughts about what could be the best thing. But knowing her, that she was also very determined and very independent, the best thing to do was to be really flexible, to be really open, easy, and be close to her instead of creating tension in the relationship. So as Brother Charlie said also, intention is very important. What is my intention in this situation? So my intention with her was to consolidate the relationship, to sustain the relationship, and to be close to her. Because if I'm close to her, I can influence her. So for that, I need to be very flexible and accept whatever she decided to do. And she decided to be independent and to study, but also to work. So it was perfect. And I help her and I support her. And she was appreciating. And still now we have a very, very close relationship because she feels very easy with me. She feels that she can talk about anything. I will not judge her. I will not discuss with her. I will not give my opinion. I will not give advice to her. I've learned these things. It was not at the beginning. So I learned to be so adaptable, but the result is when you practice this, then you are close to people. They like to be with you because they feel not judged. They feel that you are easy. They feel that they can open themselves and they can be with you as they are and not pretend to be other people. And it happens the same in my coaching sessions. I've trained myself through meditation to really be inside myself, very open, very flexible, very easy, and no judgmental. And people say to me, one of the things I like is that I feel not judged. I feel that I can be myself. So I think when you are true to yourself, firm in your principles, in your internal values, but then externally you are able to accept, be flexible, don't be surprised for anything. Anything can happen. People can be as they are. Then people appreciate very much this and enjoy to be with you. So I think these are some experiences in the workplace. And I will ask Brother Bill, you can share also some of our experiences with the team, coordinator team, and how we work, because flexibility is one of the main values in our way of working together.
So first of all, now, I did not salute before. Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks, Manoj, for the invitation. And we were a bit surprised because you want us to go deeper into flexibility, but the session has been very deep, and the session with Charlie was so deep and so good. And we were thinking, no, before, what are we going to share? So you will need to be also flexible and patient, because maybe we will repeat some points because you have developed a lot already, this topic. Let me share, I'm going to talk about this experience of teamwork, which is really, if we want examples of, there has been the question, how do I develop my flexibility? And it was in the slides, it was about yoga, connecting with the Supreme. That's how we really absorb virtues. But at a practical level, in the human world, in the day-to-day life, one practice that will help us a lot to develop flexibility is teamwork. I'm going towards that now, but before, I wanted to share with you a little churning about flexibility. I was thinking, first of all of you know and this has been said many times, that this is the wonder of virtues, that when we focus on one virtue, when we want truly go into the depths of any virtue, take any virtue, it doesn't need to be flexibility, any virtue that you want to go into the depths of it and really imbibe it and practice it in your life, then you realize that you need other virtues to be able to keep that virtue alive and constantly with you. And this happens, there is like this network that virtues create among them, and you cannot just stay with, you cannot go into the depths of one virtue without developing many other virtues. And this happens with flexibility. And I was reflecting a little bit that flexibility connects with many virtues. Charlie shared about acceptance, humility. And I was thinking also, as Enrique was saying, the role of mother, father, friendship, love. No, love is also the basis, or it is really a component necessary to be flexible. When there is love, easily, there is flexibility. And the contrary, when we talk about the ego and the rigidness of the ego, I was thinking the opposite of love is fear. Well, there are other things opposite of love too, but behind that rigidness is fear. And I wanted to share with all of you some things I've observed in terms of leadership. When we are in a position that we have some kind of leadership over others, when that leadership is based on ego and fear, it's about rigidness. Then you expect in those situations, you expect obedience, you expect really loyalty and no questions. no reflection about the things that need to be done. It is rigid. Right? Well, there are many systems in life. If we look at the military or that work like this, no, it is like order and command. But sometimes we become a little bit like this. When we are rigid and we are in charge of something, we feel, I'm in charge of this. You should do this as I want. And it is not that maybe you are right. Things have to be done in this way. I'm not suggesting you don't have to do sometimes. But if the other person tells you something, if there is love, we would have the flexibility of listening and patience to try to understand the point of view of the person who is maybe challenging my instruction or whatever. No, so this is I think an interesting point for all of us. I think to turn. If sometimes I become rigid, there is fear. There is fear because maybe my image, maybe my inner beliefs, rigid, are going to shake. There's something that I fear inside. That's something that we could reflect on and see if sometimes happens to us, that we become rigid out of fear. And of course, fear and rigidness are signs of ego, limited consciousness. We are stuck. We are very attached to our ideas, our point of view, our perspective, whatever. So small sharing about this practice or this tool, because we are, as Manoj said, we are members of the Spanish National Coordination Team of the Brahma Kumaris. So we don't meet very often. We are six members. Two of them are we, Bill and Enrique. And the others are, like we say, sisters, 4 sisters, spiritual sisters, we call them. And first of all, to really appreciate and to praise the wonderful tool that is teamwork. Because one of the aims of a spiritual life is to transform ourselves and go in this journey from ego, from ego consciousness to soul consciousness, to spiritual consciousness. And I can tell you, and probably you have that experience, and maybe you are in teams, really teamwork, proper teamwork is really a wonderful tool to begin this process of reducing your ego and to be more spiritual. And certainly you need to be flexible. I think if you don't practice flexibility, if you don't increase your flexibility, I don't know if you will survive, especially if it is a powerful team where the members are all powerful and they are all powerful ideas and they have their perspectives. And very, very, I would say almost impossible without flexibility. So I would like to share a little bit the process we follow, which is nice. Then you have to set up yourself for working in a team. You have to prepare yourself and accept that there is going to be a challenge to your ideas, to your perspective. And if you go with this awareness and you are ready for that, you are well equipped with flexibility, with really, I think Charlie talked also about that, this mental openness to see others' perspectives, how others see the same situation or the same project or the same activity, in this coordination team. So we have so many topics because sometimes we have to organize projects, we have to organize activities, or we have to manage the finances, or we have to set up systems for the spiritual service in Spain. So many topics. And so the wonderful thing is the transformation that can happen in you, and so much learning, because transformation, it happens with me, for instance, when I come to the team with a strong idea about something, with a clear idea that things should be done like this, but I know this is a team of very powerful souls. So first of all, I don't have the expectation that this idea will succeed completely, but it has been said before, this in this spiritual knowledge, there is this idea of being the child and the master. And this is a wonderful game. This is a wonderful practice that comes out from this spiritual knowledge of Raj Yoga. That is, when you share an idea of something that you think should be done, some activity, some project, whatever you feel that we should go in this direction, we should do this, we say it as a master. As a master means with that enthusiasm, with that energy. And for a while others are listening, you take like the lead. You become the leader of the team because you are suggesting that you are advising the team. This is what we need to do. This is the program we need to do. This is whatever we need to do. But then the mistake, I think, those who don't have this spiritual practice commit, is that they stay attached to that idea. Then you have to retire. And then you have to become the child, because then, as I said, this is a powerful team. And so everyone begins to give their opinion. We have a process of going in a circle. We are disciplined in that. Once I have spoken about this idea, one by one, it is not that we will do it randomly. No, as we do it, we work like this. We do it in a process. Each one is going to share her point of view about this idea, if this should be done, if this should not be done. And then they start to speak, and then they see the difficulties of whatever I say, or it is maybe not the time to do that. It's a good idea. There's always a lot of respect. No one is disrespecting the ideas of anyone. Of course, we need to practice that. we are a spiritual team. but here is where you do it. When you work in a team, you have to practice these virtues. And then what happens is that as I'm listening to them with an open mind, I realize that it is true. My plan or my idea has some imperfections or things that need to be improved. And then another suggests another idea that is different. It's inspired in this idea, but it's a different project or a different thing we do around. And then if it is not clear completely what we are going to do, we do a second round. Right? We keep listening. I continue to share my idea, what I think, but now I am not so I am not so strict or so firm. Now I realize that there are things that, yes, they need to be improved. Well, the funny thing and the interesting thing is that when we finish this process, sometimes it happens to me. I don't know if I am too flexible, but at the end, I change completely my mind and I say, okay, let's do a completely different thing. But the main thing I've learned, and it hasn't been, as Enrique was saying, this is not something you learn immediately, but I've learned to be happy with this transformation. And maybe we have virtue of detachment, because at the end, I am happy, but nothing of, or very little of what I said is going to be put into practice. But the main thing is I am staying happy. And we have arrived to a decision that we are all happy with. And that's really the strength of the team. And just one detail, the team should be of equal power. There are different types of teams, and sometimes there are teams where there is some kind of a leader of the team. I think that creates a different dynamic. But this is a team where each one has the same authority, let's say. So this is where really your ego is going to be really molded and slowly dissolved. Maybe Enrique, you can share, you were thinking, you were churning, you said about the connection between flexibility and detachment.
Yes, very interesting what you were saying. And my experience in the team is the same. And my personal way of being is to be very engaged in something. It seems like I'm a little bit stubborn, but when others know me, they know that I can change my mind in 1 second. So I'm really flexible, but when I have an idea, I say it with energy, with enthusiasm, with engagement, but at the same time, I can withdraw and be detached very quickly. Because my feeling is that when you get engaged in something really deeply, you can feel what is your idea or what is the situation or whatever is happening. And then intuition will tell you if this is right or not, or others will tell you also. So engagement and detachment is also, I would say, a kind of flexibility to move in these two areas. And I was thinking too, also in oneself, being flexible with oneself and allowing yourself to give you permission. Sometimes we are rigid inside ourselves with our own being. Give permission to change something that you see in one way and allow yourself in 1 minute to change and see it in a completely different way. Sometimes in the world, generally, people want people who has opinions, no? You need to have an opinion. What is your opinion of this? What is your opinion of that? And I've learned through spirituality that I don't need to have an opinion. I can change my opinion. And it's not a wrong thing. It's not that you are doubting. No, you are flexible, you're open, you're easy. You have an idea, you have an opinion of something. But if the other person gives you some new ideas or some different points of view, I'm very happy to let go of this opinion and to support the new opinion. And for people, sometimes they don't like this change of opinion. So many times I've said to many people saying, I have no opinions. So you can you can have the opinion that you want, I will support it regarding practical things and easy things, not regarding principles as we were saying before. So I think flexibility can be also a quality inside yourself to have this engagement and detachment, opinion and change your opinion. So means that we can be flexible with values also, with qualities inside ourselves. We don't need to be in one way only. We can adapt ourselves to different situations, different people, different circumstances, and really be detached, but being firm in the principles. So I love this way of working that we have in our team, because it gives you the opportunity to listen properly to each member of the team and listen to an open mind, so you allow them to influence you. So this is another aspect of flexibility that I was observing when we work together, that you say something with engagement and then you open yourself to really listen very openly and allow the opinion of the others influence you. Because what's happened usually, if you have an engagement with an opinion or one idea, you are stuck to this idea, so you don't listen properly to others, or you listen, but you justify your idea and you try to find things that are different with the ideas of others. But when you say what I have you to say, and then you stay back, silent, quiet mind, open heart, and really allow others to influence you, it's so beautiful to see how you are changing your mind and seeing things in a different way, and see things more in a wider way, so that you learn to see with more perspective. And when you are flexible in this way, my experience is that you become very expert and you become very mature, because you integrate in yourself the perspectives of others that are very different from your perspective. But you need to do this work of being detached and let go your opinion and be silent. And really, this is, I think, very important. Allow the others to influence you in a positive way, of course, because you know and you trust the others, and you know that they will say something which is important for them. So then everything becomes very easy. And at the end, you feel very motivated to continue to have different meetings, because you learn from every meeting. You change your mind in every meeting and you add. It's not changing that you change your way of thinking, you add new ways of seeing the same situations. And sometimes we don't have a solution for a situation, because the situation can be difficult, usually regarding relationships. It's not so easy to find a solution or to find a way to deal with that. So we talk in circles. Everyone is expressing their own thoughts, reflections. And it's so beautiful when you do it in a detached way and you are open to listen to others with this flexibility. Others were saying different things, and then we are constructing together. It's like the conversation becomes a connected conversation, and then we allow also the divine, we allow the spiritual energy to be part of this conversation, and also allow ourselves to be open to be influenced by this energy. And it's so interesting that after 1, 2 rounds, sometimes 3 rounds, some good ideas emerge, and the ideas are not from one, the ideas are from the conversation. We allow ourselves to be influenced. we build whatever is the other saying instead of cutting the other or discussing the idea, but we have trained ourselves to build the conversation. So we build together and then new ideas come. So creativity appears when we allow to be open and to be influenced by the ideas of others. And then the energy flows. And it's very beautiful. For me, it's one of the best experiences of working as teams when creativity happens in the team and new ideas appear, and you can see that they are not the ideas of one person. The ideas come from the group, they come from the unity, and sometimes even they come from some kind of inspiration. So I would say to work inside yourself, the flexibility to allow yourself to change your mind, to allow yourself to let go an opinion and to accept another opinion, and allow yourself also to be open to be influenced by the good things, the good opinions, the good ideas of others. And Bill, what do you think about this? You are also open to...
Yes, I do agree completely. And I was thinking together with all these aspects you mentioned, the idea that flexibility versus rigidness is the basis also to avoid, not just in the teamwork, but in your whole life, is the basis to avoid arguing, debating, or entering a dispute. Because I remember that was one of my defects when in my 20s, when I was younger. I was a difficult person in terms of I always wanted to win the argument and to be right. And even my friends used to tell me, you always want to be right. It's like the final word, and that creates a lot of disharmony in relationships. It's something very unpleasant. And this flexibility, as Enrique was mentioned, gives us a space to not to feel challenged, but it's just a perspective. This flexibility, as I was saying, not connected with other virtues, with detachment. You have to be detached. You need to be detached of your opinion, your idea, and then you have space to, as it has been said, to listen and to include different ideas. Or maybe not, but from detachment, I can see that still I like my idea, but in a detached way. And no need to debate, no need to confront, no need to argue with anyone, which is like such a waste of energy, and it leads to sometimes to clashes and maybe small or not so small conflicts. So that inner rigidness. So it's so important in life. I maybe just to make a little bit of, create a little bit of lightness, I would like to share a joke, Spanish joke, very brief. I don't know if it will be funny, but it's a joke. I like it very much. Because Charlie talked about flexibility connected with humility. Humility, flexibility. So this is the story of a man who lived for 120 years. And then he was fine. He was quite healthy, 120 years. That was like a miracle. And then one person went to that old man to interview him. And this person asked him, what is your secret? How is it possible that, and you look very well, you have 120 years. What's your secret? How have you been able to live so long, for so long? And the old man said, well, during my whole life, I never argued with anyone. I never debated with anyone. And the other man, the interviewer, was totally surprised. Come on, it cannot be just like this. There must be some other reason. And then the old man said, yeah, there must be also some other reasons. But the point is that he never argued even till the end of his life. I like it, the story, because so flexible we should be, so that we don't need to confront anything. So Enrique, you want to add anything?
I think also in our spiritual practice, in meditation, we need to be very flexible with ourselves. I've observed that many people who are practicing meditation or spiritual life, they become very rigid with themselves. They become very strict with themselves. And it's not, as you were saying before, it's not that you become careless. No, but flexible inside. Sometimes something emerges, an old pattern of behavior. Okay, continue to your practice, continue to your life, but treat yourself properly, with love, with kindness. So be flexible in the way you are practicing meditation, in the way you are practicing this spiritual life. Remember, your principles are very important, of course. These are the pillars. But then the rest of the things, you need to be easy. And I like what you have said at the beginning. Flexibility is to be easy in situations, with people, but also with yourself, and especially in your mind. Because we know the mind goes here and there. And when we try to meditate, sometimes other things come to the mind. So don't be too strict with yourself in the sense of be rigid. Be flexible. Continue with your aim to be connected, to be soul conscious, to connect with the light, but at the same time, play a little bit with whatever is happening inside yourself. And sometimes we need to, like the river, we need to mold to some obstacles. We need to mold to some ideas that come to our mind. We need to be gentle with ourselves and to be easy, but with a clear aim that I want to connect. I want to concentrate myself. I want to be in silence. Yes, this is the aim. But sometimes, and I'm sure you have the experience, we are not able to achieve this aim. So then be kind to yourself. Be flexible and maybe go for a walk and change your energy. And maybe then come back, sit for meditation, and you will enjoy the meditation. But don't treat yourself harsh and with rigidity. Be also flexible. And I think also another aspect that I want to share is allow yourself to change the way you see things. Be the observer, because I've observed also that sometimes we have very deep-rooted beliefs, old beliefs, that makes us are influencing all our lives. So give you permission, and this is another part of flexibility. Allow yourself to change something. Allow yourself to be different. Allow yourself sometimes to don't understand something. Allow yourself to don't know something. Allow yourself to be in this uncertain space sometimes, because in spiritual life, we are changing so many things that sometimes we are a little bit, where am I? So allow yourself to be in this space also and enjoy. So I think flexibility for me helps us to be in difficult situations, complex situations, even internal emotional situations, but it's happening there. I'm not sure if I can explain it very well because it's subtle, but you can remain stable. So you are there observing and you are flexible with yourself. You say, oh, this is happening. Okay, I observe, I become a little bit detached from that, but at the same time it's happening. So you accept, you adapt yourself, and you find ways to deal with what is happening inside yourself instead of reacting, instead of feeling guilty or blaming yourself. So I think the work on oneself is so important in spirituality, to continue and to be consistent, because spiritual life is a long journey. So you need to be kind to yourself. You need to be flexible for so many situations that will happen inside yourself and different personalities that will appear in yourself. and be able to deal with them. So easiness, flexibility, and detachment for me are crucial for being consistent in this spiritual life. So I think these are some of the ideas. Maybe we can finish with a meditation. Bill, you want to do something or?
Yes, we can have a few thoughts now to meditate. I invite all of you to now take a deep breath. Just let us go within, go inside. Maybe initially we can become aware of here and now and see if any of the ideas, anything that during the whole workshop today has been shared, anything is resonating in my mind, anything that I find useful, I find valuable to practice it more, to bring it more into my life. Maybe some inspiration. And let us now become aware of ourselves as a being of spiritual energy. I am a wonderful spiritual star, point of light, seated on the throne of the middle of the forehead. I am this shiny, wonderful star of spiritual energy. I am the soul, peaceful soul. And so I become detached of my physical image, my physical body. And I adopt a perspective of myself as a being of light. Light is totally flexible, can adapt to anything. I am a wonderful star shining in the middle of the forehead. And by transforming my awareness of who am I can easily now remember the most beautiful and powerful being of light, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Being, who is also a star, point of light beyond this physical realm, in the world of silence. I remember right now this beautiful, wonderful, Supreme Being who is a source of spiritual love and spiritual power. So now, in silence, I'm taking a spiritual bath of these sun rays, rays of the spiritual sun of knowledge. I absorb the light and the power of the Supreme. And with this spiritual power, I allow this process of melting my limited consciousness, any trace of ego that still remains. I let it be, I let dissolve that under these spiritual rays of love and peace. I become soul, very open, very flexible. very humble, very loveful. All of these virtues are blooming inside myself. And I am now very well prepared to enter again the field of action, to enter again this play of life, and to experiment with these beautiful virtues. How does my life changes if I move through life with more flexibility, with more easiness, with more humility? Let us all experiment with this in a practical way in our lives. Om Shanti.
So thank you so much, both of you, Enrique brother and brother Bill. And before we end, I would request Sister Shruti to propose the vote of thanks, and I'll do the announcements after that. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Brother Enrique, Brother Bill. It was such a wonderful, wonderful session. I think the chat messages started to pour in even while you were in the second half about how much the comments were starting to resonate with everybody. For me personally, I think what touched me the most in this session, besides all the points, was just the honesty and the heartfelt sharing from your personal lives, Brother Enrique, whether it's your experience with your daughter, with your bosses. Brother Bill, you are being extremely humble and honest by mentioning how you wanted to have the last word and the debate, because I think a lot of us can resonate to some of those behaviors. And it's a journey, and you're admitting that it's a journey and you have to learn. I think was something that really touched. And of course, there's so many points that came out. Uh, uh, Brother Enrique, your entire, the number of times I think you talked about detaching and being silent. And then I love the line that you said about listening properly with an open mind to allow others to influence yourself. And I think a lot of us know or have been, involved in a lot of active listening, but active listening with the permission for others to influence you, or listening to it with that openness, I think was an extremely powerful thought. And to also think about creativity as energy flow was, I think, also something that was very, very interesting. And of course, learning to treat yourself with love and kindness. It is an uncertain path we all embark on once we allow spirituality into our lives. And to be able to be comfortable in that was some of the things that really resonated with me. And I'm sure with everybody else. Brother Bill, the fact that one virtue is connected to so many others, and I couldn't keep track of the number of virtues you mentioned: harmony, humility, easiness, consistency. And we've been running this whole series with so many virtues. And I was, in my mind, I was just thinking about all the ones that we've covered, and maybe there are more that we need to cover, because truly each one is interconnected. I think the details in which you mentioned how the national team works, whether it's about going around the table, accepting that the team has equal power and authority. We may give titles, we may give people a seat at the table, whether in the worldly and in our work environments, but to be able to really accept that and allowing that transformation in yourself. I think those were just some very powerful ideas. I think each one of us is taking away with us. So again, truly, truly grateful, truly, truly thankful for your time today. We're going away with lots of jewels of learning. The session is recorded, and I know more people attended even via YouTube. So it won't be restricted to just this audience, but people do come back to listen to some of this. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much. And before I let you go, both the brothers, we do meditation in the end actually, but that's perfectly fine. I'll just share the screen for announcements where people know what we are doing in the upcoming weeks. So as always, we end the value with a silence retreat. So within 12 hours from now, so India time would be morning 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. and the West Coast time of US and Canada will be late evenings, 8 to 10 p.m. So please do join us. And these we have mentioned here specifically for BK students, but the people who are interested that what is this silence retreat all about, we go into the depth of the value in 2 hours. And every hour there's a set theme which we follow. We have something called the divine versions of the divine being. We call them Avyak Bapdada and Brahma Kumaris. We portray those materials in the form of a PowerPoint presentation. We listen to the divine voice as well. Then we do some meditation with meditation music and also then go into silence for around 10 to 15 minutes every hour. So that's the format which we follow. So you're welcome to experience this silence because there's no other way to deeply inculcate the value rather than reflecting on it in silence. And we move on to our next episode, episode 92 on innovativeness or uniqueness. In Hindi, we call it Naveenta. And we have a very experienced speaker, author, and a management tutor from UK, Brother Mike George. So he'll be joining, and it will be the same time again, 7:30 p.m. India time in West Coast, 7 a.m., same as today. And then we move on into our workshop with yet another wonderful soul from UK, Sister Aruna Ladwa. She now currently serves at the Global Retreat Center in Oxford. And again, it will be 2 weeks from now. So we'll have the experiential exercises first, and then followed by her talk and meditation. And that's our elegant calendar of June. Thanks to Sister Kosha. We have Asha Didi further on strictness. We purposely chose strictness with Asha Didi, and then we'll have Sister Shireen and Sister Sukanya from USA speaking on the workshop for strictness. Because strictness also is indeed a value, I must say. And these are our YouTube playlists, our websites, and our email addresses. All these are available, as Sister Shruti mentioned, on our YouTube channel called vihasa.in. And you can feel free to click on the playlist and find out. And we'll be sending you all these materials in the form of PowerPoint and a PDF file. People have sent their emails as well. So please kindly send it to us so we can send it to you. And with this, I'll just stop sharing the screen. And now it's, before we go, it's exactly 9:30 India time. So I will request all of you all to please, if you want to take a photograph with the brothers. So we normally take a photograph at the end. So I would request Sister Garima and Nikhil to please take a photograph. I will also do that right now. So all of you are requested to keep your cameras on.
Just one more second.
It's on page 2 as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you so much once again, all of you, and thanks both the brothers. Thank you. We're looking forward to again both of you soon.
Thank you.